People ask me all the time, how am I productive, motivated, disciplined, self-developing every single day, even though I have a full-time job as a professional athlete? If you don't know who I am, my name is Bianca and I play professional soccer. That is my full-time job. And if you know anything about professional athletes, our job is basically 24/7 because everything we do impacts our performance. And a lot of people feel satisfied by just being a professional athlete because it is a very fulfilling job. You're really pushing yourself to the max for that craft and you impact young kids that look up to you. It should feel fine, right? It should feel great. So why am I putting all this energy outside of my sport to self-develop, to go on here on YouTube and to build my personal brand? Why am I doing that? A couple years ago, I had an identity crisis. I had an injury that was so bad that kept me out of sports for over a year, and I thought I had to retire from my sport. But you have to understand, I had put 20 years of my life into this sport. I had become a professional athlete. And to have that taken away from me, it felt like I lost who I was. I had put my whole self-worth into my sport. I had put my value as a human being into my performance on the field. And when that was jeopardized and I had to resign from my sport, which thankfully I did not, but I thought I did, I had an identity crisis because I just did not know who I was anymore. And when you don't know who you are, you feel like you are worthless and that you should not belong on this earth. It can get really, really dark. And it doesn't matter if you are a professional athlete or not. If you have any sort of job title that you have aspired to get to and you have that taken away from you, you can feel what I mean by identity crisis. You know what it feels like when you've attached to some sort of title, to some job, to some role, and have that taken away from you. You don't know who you are anymore, and that is scary. So ever since that day, and I've always been really good at self-developing, but this is what really got me consistent, was realizing that I cannot put my whole self-worth into a job title. I need to put my whole self-worth into who I am as a person, and that is self-development. The moment that I commit and I stay disciplined to self-development, I know I can always find inner peace because I am controlling the controllable. You cannot control the job that you have. You cannot control what your job tells you to do, what your boss tells you to do, the things that you have to report, the success you have, because you are literally just an employee. You are literally just a puppet to them. You are a commodity. If they find someone like you that has the same skills as you that can do their job, but for cheaper, they will take them. It's the same thing in sports. If you have me and you have someone else and we have the same skill play, but they can pay them much less than me, they would rather pay the person less than have me for the same amount of work. So what do? I mean, I mentioned it. You have to work on your self-development, but what does that even mean? You have to come to this agreement. You are your most valuable asset. Everything that you do, everything that you invest should be to build your own personal value. And the moment you build your own personal value, I know it sounds selfish, but you will help others build their own. In my YouTube banner, I literally have lead your life so you can lead others. You cannot start leading others and be impactful and influential and have an impact on other people if you do not start that with yourself. When I started my journey, I started to just commit to reading books. I just thought that if I could just read more and learn about other perspectives and try to solve the problems that I have, I will feel better. And there's one book I stumbled upon that literally changed my whole perspective about my career. And this is cool because I know a lot of people always ask for book recommendations. Everyone loves to know what is the good book for XYZ. Here's the one I'm going to suggest to you. Look up The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. That was my introduction to entrepreneurship. It was very easy to read. It was a good way to understand how business works at a beginner level, but it also was the best thing I could have read to be inspired to work on myself because I realized that I am the one that can control my success. I realized that I did not have to rely on a job title or anything else to give me that sense of fulfillment, that I will feel fulfilled if I focus on myself and entrepreneurship. If you're new to entrepreneurship, you might be a little bit resistant because it just sounds like capitalism and it sounds like just people just greedy for money. But do you realize that money is not a bad thing? If you want to have an impact and leave a legacy and fulfill your potential, you need money for resources. You need money to build connections, to create communities, to support the people you want to support. Like, money is necessary for this journey. So you should not feel resistant towards the fact that you want to make money and you want to increase your capital, because this is where it's going to take you where you want to go. I don't even need to go into the details of the business plan, because that has nothing to do when you're first starting. The first thing you got to do is to build the resources within yourself. It's all about that, building that self-worth, because once you know that you are worthy, you literally project outwards your innate value. People will feel attracted to you because they will feel that you know that you are valuable. If you know about entrepreneurship, you know it's about building assets. Assets are what make you wealthy. And the number one asset that you need to do to start is building your intellectual capital. It's nurturing your mind, your skills. It's investing in yourself. So then you build your own self-worth by reading books, by listening to podcasts, by meditating, by having a good morning routine, by going to bed early, by exercising, by eating good food. You need to just make sure that you are optimal as a person. And the more knowledge and intellect and self-reflection that you do and you acquire, the more value you will have. Don't overcomplicate your self-development. It's really learning how to improve yourself, to start reading books, to start asking questions about your beliefs. It's not that complicated. And then the step 2 would be to create your social capital. So basically increase the amount of people that you know that are also valuable. But you cannot go to step 2 if you do not nail step 1. You cannot attract people of value if you are not of value yourself. And I'm not talking that you have no self-worth as a human being if you don't do any of these things. I'm just talking about value in the sense of the capital world we live in, okay? So if you want to attract good, powerful people, you need to become that person first. Because those people, why would they come to you if you do not have the proof that you are valuable? And in step 2, that requires you to look at your friends or the people that you surround yourself with and realize, is that where you want to go? Are those people going to help me build that intellectual and social capital for myself? Once you feel confident about that, that's when you start digitizing your intellectual capital. And that's when you start building your personal brand and putting yourself out there. And those social people will come to you. That valuable network that you want will come to you once you put yourself out there. The amount of people that have reached out to me, even though my channel is small, the amount of people that have reached out to me to want to work with me, people of influence, people that I can see have bigger platforms, I am amazed. And that's only because I put myself out there. You don't need to be famous to have famous friends. You want people that are just similar minded, that can build each other, that have the same values as you. And you want to surround yourself by those people because you will get there together. Once you start sharing your knowledge, sharing your insights and your light bulb moments that are very valuable, you start attracting people that want to work with you. And then you can create a team, and then you can create a product, and then you can create a future vision for other people, and you can make the world a better place. And that all starts from you being selfish and taking care of yourself first, to invest in your own development and your own self-worth, and remove yourself from your job and start thinking bigger. Have control over your future. Do not necessarily feel like you have to work for someone else, because in that way you are participating in their dream. But what about your dream? What about what you want? What about that vision that you think you can have for the future? What about the impact that you know you can make? You have so much potential. And if you don't ask yourself deeper questions, if you don't remove yourself from that clouded judgment that you need to have this job title to feel fulfilled, you will never amount to that potential that you have. Once you have the intellectual capital, the social capital, the team capital that you build for yourself, eventually you'll have the financial capital. It will come as a side effect because you will have the foundation there. So if anything out of the video that I have today is, if you were like me and you put your whole self-worth into one job, you need to remove yourself and realize that you cannot be a commodity. You cannot be easily replaceable. And to be irreplaceable means to make yourself such a valuable asset that people will pay big money for you to be on their team. And if people are not willing to pay what you're worth, you can create that team for yourself because you will have the knowledge. You will be built different. You will be built different. So you will be able to be that entrepreneur that will attract wealth and attract good people because you would have spent so much time building your self-worth that the world will be rewarded by your presence. So let me know in the comments if you want to be part of this team, part of this movement, because I am looking to build my social circle. I'm looking to build this community of people that want to push each other, to question each other, to self-develop, because ultimately that will bring us to that common vision of ours to make the world a better place. All right, I love you so much, and I will see you very soon in a new video. Mwah.